Kia ora, Lara here, and you can find me on various social media platforms under Scrappykea as well as here on YouTube. Make sure you check below for links to other people who are participating in the 14 Days of Christmas YouTube hop, so there's lots of inspiration there. I'm going to be putting together my first layout as part of this 14 days. I've done lots of cards and some gift ideas and things, but today it is time to put a layout down. I am also using some inspiration here from the Colour Stories inspiration, so you can find them on Facebook and they've got a great blog, so I'll try and link those below as well so you can see where this is coming from. So there was this really cool picture of kind of sort of a cluster of florals and leaves and all sorts of stuff falling over a clock. And there was kind of like a star and a heart and some bits and pieces, and I've taken inspiration from this picture, looking at this foliage, and I found this great wreath on Cut to You, one of the cut file by Gwen, so I will again link that below as well. So it just fitted beautifully with what I felt was going on in the image that the CSI group had put together as inspiration for this month. So what I'm doing here is I've taken the cut file, which I've cut on the Cricut. I think I cut it at 10.5, it was the biggest measurement on there, 10.5 inches, and I'm now putting that onto some of this green paper. So I'm actually mixing two collections from close to my heart. I am mixing both the winter collection along with Now and Forever. So this collection, the Now and Forever collection is kind of, I think, sort of your Valentine's collection. It's got some gorgeous colours that you can see. I've used the heart from the heart paper and this background paper here that I'm sort of playing with the idea of as part of this collection. But then that greeny colour is from the Four Seasons winter collection. So sort of playing around with some colours here. I really like the contrast with the cut file on that plain coloured cardstock, but I just felt, looking at the image that I'm taking this inspiration from, I felt that it just needed a bit more busyness, a bit more leaves, foliage, all that kind of stuff sort of falling down it. So I am going to go back to this paper that I initially thought of. So even though I'm sort of still doubting myself, that was just way too busy, it's just not going to work, but this will. So looking at this, I'm just loving that bow that fits with the inspiration from CSI as well. And yeah, so I'm going to pull in a few bits and pieces, just trimming off this zip strip or the manufacturer strip, and then I'm going to stick down this cut file. So grabbing some Tombow glue, just using the blue here. I use the liquid glass for sticking down the cut file to the paper that I then fussy cut around, but for this, because it's sort of a bigger, bolder piece and I'm not needing that close detail, I have just used this other glue, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to see how some of the leaves are sticking up there. I don't mind that so much, it adds a bit of dimension, but I'm just going to tuck some of them down with just that little bit more glue just to give it a better adherence in the background, and that bow as well. So getting those all sort of put in place, and now I'm going to have a look at my photo, and I'm going to back that with a few of the papers from these collections. So this is the other side of that heart paper that I put at the top of the bow. It's kind of quite a nice pinky colour. This Now and Forever collection, it's sort of got that old world kind of look, and I think that was really inherent in the picture that CSI put out that I'm using as inspiration for this layout, which is part again of the 14 Days of Christmas. So I'm mixing in that Four Seasons winter plaid. I actually love that piece of paper. It's one that I've used for quite a few different projects and pages and cards and things, so it's been well used. And then the other side of it is kind of this nice green and red flowers, and these two collections, they must have a lot of common colours in common, because they just sort of tie in really nicely together, similar greens and similar reds and pinks and things as well. So I've used foam tape there just to lift that photo up a little bit, and then I'm going to go around and rough up the edges of the photograph. So just going around all of the pieces of paper and all of the sides, and just sort of wrinkling them up a little bit just to give that a little bit more texture and a little bit more shape. I wanted the photo to sort of jump out from that background a wee bit, in that otherwise it would get lost with the busyness of what's going on. So I'm now pulling out some of the stickers from the Now and Forever collection. There's a few gorgeous little roses, some beautiful hearts, and things like that. So I'm pulling out those and just working what would fit where and trying to think dimensionally how this is all going to fit together and is that visually appealing. So there's no real huge amount of planning that's gone into this page. The only sort of planning was really looking at the CSI blog for inspiration, as well as then finding this cut file that I thought looked perfect for this particular layout and this idea. Now the photo is kind of just one of those in the moment kind of photographs. So my husband and I were just sort of lying on the sofa watching TV. You can see my daughter in the background there. She just made us all a cup of tea, and she had also put together the Christmas tree. So Christmas is kind of her thing. She's been studying this year and been a bit busy, so I think it's sort of only sort of starting to come up as part of what's going on, and it was just really nice to have a moment just relaxing. And the photo is not a great photo, but it's one of those nice moments where we were sort of, most of us were enjoying each other's company. It doesn't look like Alicia is, but she'd just been chatting to us just before the photo was taken. So now I'm using some of the photos from the Deck the Halls collection. So pulling in a third kind of collection. I need to check the name of it. Actually, that might not be the correct name, but it's got the beautiful poinsettias and some other leaves and things that, again, the colours just tie in beautifully. So I'm quite impressed with how these three collections actually work really well together. So tucking in a few of these gorgeous little dangling kind of Christmas decorations. Again, there were some really nice Christmas decorations in the CSI photo, which you'll be able to check the links below to see where those sort of all fit together. So looking at this now as I sort of try and find a title, I did go away and grab a few lettering, acrylic lettering and all those, a few different things like that, but they just didn't feel like they would fit very well with the layout. They'd dominate too much, and at the moment I sort of wanted that photo to jump out a little bit instead of disappearing into the background. So again, this sticker sheet has a few different hearts and stars and things like that, so I'm just putting them in at random points around the layout and just choosing what kind of works and where. And as I sort of look at this layout at this point, I'm thinking it feels like it needs some kind of definition, some kind of edge, something to separate it from the background. So I'm sort of going through papers and thinking what is going to work here. I didn't want something that dominated. I wanted something that made the photo stand out. And so I pulled the cardstocks that match the Now and Forever collection, because that bow's kind of a dominant part of it. So I pulled that out, and I've just trimmed off 1/2 inch off each of two of the sides, so one side and the bottom. So that'll give me a 1/4 inch border all the way around. So now I'm sort of looking at which colours work. The pink's actually quite pleasant, but it just didn't have that same I just didn't have the lift. Same with that beautiful green. I really loved that green, but it wasn't working. And then I loved how this red looked. I think this might be scarlet cardstock, but then I tried the desert rose, and I felt that was subtle, but yet it didn't dominate, it didn't take over, but it did add the definition that I was wanting. So I'm just going to tape that down and stick that to the background there. I could have gutted it, but I've become quite a lazy scrapbooker in that if I'd gutted it, I might never have used the leftover cardstock. So now I'm just wrinkling up the edges here of this, so it's not just like this piece of paper sort of stuck down on a piece of cardboard. And it also sort of echoes what's going on with my border around the photograph. So really liking how that's come together. It's probably a lot busier than layouts that I normally create, but it is working. So now I'm going to make a mess of my journaling. So I start by doing the journaling, and this pen sort of dies a little bit. It's not one that I've used a lot, but it was the one that was in my box. So what I've done is I've gone and grabbed some of the tags from one of the sticker sheets, and I am writing in a white pen what I was going to write in the black, just to tidy that up a little bit. And here's some close-up shots of this layout in its finished appearance. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Love it if you join me as a subscriber if you're not already. If you are, thank you. Make sure you check the links below. Quite a few links that I talked about during the video, and including the other people who are participating in the 14 Days of Christmas YouTube Hop. Thanks again for watching.